Hi, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Talking Reckless podcast, episode 334. My name is Matt Eads. Looking at a camera that doesn't work. Brandon Lynch is here.
Looking at a camera that does work.
Well, work in air quotes. Kevin Byers here.
I thought you weren't supposed to look at the camera. You're just supposed to allow it to exist.
No, you're gonna. Sometimes I'm making eye contact with the audience. Yeah. Sometimes
Alona Holmes looks at the camera.
Boom.
There you go.
Yeah.
That
Because she needs to tell
alone
us
backwards
somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes something happens in here that I cannot believe, and I need to make eye contact with the audience and be like, "Can you believe it?"
I think what's important for us to recognize, Kev, is if he ever says anything and looks at the camera, we have to have not heard it.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a sign.
That's not for us.
Yeah, podcasting etiquette. October the 5th today. Actually, it'll probably be, this is the rare case, we record on a Monday. Probably be October the 6th, 2020 by the time you hear this. It's weird.
Yeah.
Weird recording on the day that we say. But here we are, podcast time and real time. Finally. They've switched places, so
Yes.
if the trend continues, we'll slowly start podcasting from the past.
Ooh.
Or the future?
Well, we'd have to be going the other way. We'd have to slowly, the shows would have to get further and further ahead until we're like, we're here in 2032.
Yeah.
Well, no,
we figured out COVID. Everything's great.
We already podcast from the past, though, right?
Well,
No, we podcast from the future. We send our podcast to the future because we get in here on Saturday and we're like, it's Monday.
We podcast to the future.
To the future.
From the past.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. If we ever podcasted back from the future to the past, that would be...
Yeah.
I've got an anime I think you should watch.
Yes. There's probably better ways we should implement that technology.
Yes.
But what if that's the only way to implement the technology?
Then we'll
then
do it.
We got to go with it, right?
But let
Absolutely.
me ask you this, Kevin. If I, from the future, podcasted back to myself now and said, we got time travel, here's how to make the time machine, you got to make it. Would that, how could that paradox exist, Kevin? How could I, from the future, send myself instructions on how to make the time machine that does not yet exist in the present?
I think what would happen is you would listen to it. Then a series of events would be set into motion, which would cause both the file to become irreparably corrupted, and then you will probably lose at least 1 to 1 2/3 of your arms in some sort of industrial accident trying to build this.
Yeah.
And then I can foresee some sort of
Burns,
insanity
maybe.
following.
Yeah.
Okay, turns out you're the bearded hobo that
Yeah,
talked to yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm the one who kills me.
I read a actual scientific article that I did not fully understand very much any of it while my reporter was putting together the story, and I just had to sit there doing nothing. And it was about time travel, and it was about how they had not, obviously, we have not figured out how to time travel, but scientists believe they have eliminated the grandfather paradox as a reason why we can't time travel.
yes.
So we ignore the grandfather paradox.
Right.
Maybe we can still time travel.
Yes, where they're basically saying
they watch
like,
Dark and they're
as
like,
an-
I get this.
As an example, what would we would go back and try and stop the coronavirus if we had a time machine.
Can't change that.
But then then if we stopped the coronavirus, it never would have inspired us to go back and make the time machine, right?
Yes,
and
I
they're
see.
saying that doesn't work. But now they're saying that they believe that something to do with all the multiple, like the sheer number of different options, kind of the whole a stone makes waves in an ocean thing, but then the waves get smaller, where they're like the coronavirus would always happen.
Yeah.
No matter what you went back to do to stop it, it would just happen from a different person or something. So it would never prevent you from having the inspiration to make the time machine.
Maybe the time machine does exist, and just in all the corrected timelines, this is somehow the most less shitty.
And I think that's kind of what they were getting at, is that they're like, if time travel does exist, we're probably in the best place right now.
Yeah.
Or
Counterpoint article from Matt Eads.
no, I'm still with you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm still, maybe it's the Avengers logic of you can only affect the future, you cannot change the past, because when you go to the past, that is now your present, and the whole, you can only ever affect things that are going to happen. You can never change what has happened.
Right. Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Everybody should watch Dark.
Everyone should watch Dark.
Or maybe just the fucking closed loop thing that they talk about in Dark, where they just present it. They're like, "This is how science works." You know,
Yeah. They're basically like, there's paradoxes that you can't, like, you can basically create. Can we spoil Dark? Probably not. Eh?
No, I don't think so. Everyone should go watch Dark.
Yeah,
It's so fucking
they just
good.
said it with such conviction that you believe there's only 3,357 theaters in the United States.
that's right.
It's true. Yeah, you say anything convincingly enough.
I didn't doubt you for a second.
Not once. I tune into Tron to find out what that's about. Welcome to the show. Nope, that's not what it's called. Eads' Anime Discussion. Excellent show is in full swing on the Patreon. If you are, go look at the tiers. One of the tiers has the anime podcast. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's 3 hits of anime a week, Brandon Lynch.
That's almost the medically needed amount of doses.
That's right. 97% of your weekly anime intake, 35 to 45 minutes a week, could be your, not a week, an episode. 35 to 45 minutes times 3. That's like almost 2 hours of anime.
You like open your little weekly divided pill container.
That's right.
And you take out this is my piece of anime for Monday.
Monday's anime.
Yes.
Boop. And you find that over on the Patreon. That thing is in full swing. We're watching Attack on Titan. It's really good. It is. You should watch Attack on Titan. Everyone should watch Attack on Titan. It's very dope.
I have a very complicated relationship with anime in that I don't want to ever watch anime. I just want it to influence all the things that I do watch.
It's very good. Yeah, very good. Very good. Very easy. Not a lot of like anime tropes. All the stuff I don't like about anime, falling into boobs and
Are there dicks?
no, I haven't seen any dicks
I feel like my anime would have to have some dicks.
I can recommend a few.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen any nudity in Attack on Titan yet.
I started a show called Euphoria.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on
It's on Crave.
HBO, I think.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
Crave in Canada.
Yeah.
It's and the start of spoilers. The start of episode 2, a montage near the beginning of episode 2. I probably saw more penises on TV there than I have ever, and like a montage of like relatively close-ups of different people's penises in a way that I realized I'm still immature because I was just laughing the whole time. But also I was like, they don't put enough penises in shows. You see so many titties on HBO.
It's true.
You don't see any penises.
American Gods, I think, has a erect wang an episode or close
Excellent.
to, very close to.
Those are gods though.
Not all of them. No, you just see mortal erect mortal wangs.
Those don't sell.
No, well, not compared to God.
That's why there's only 2 seasons of American Gods.
No, I'm saying that's why they recast the showrunner, because
more god dicks, less mortal dicks.
what about video games? How do you feel about dicks in your video games?
I played a video game about gods called Hades with very handsome looking people that probably have huge dicks.
Yeah, probably very big.
But you do not see them.
Everybody's very handsome, very attractive in Hades.
This is very sexually charged game. I've talked about this on the show already, so I won't get super into it.
Any updates?
Yeah, I am like there. It is a good roguelike in that I thought I knew all the things that it had to offer in terms of how I was gonna upgrade my character, and then you play for a few more hours, and it's like, oh no, they're still unfurling new systems for me. So
Yeah.
Making me more powerful. So it's very good. I've got to the 3rd area numerous times, but I've never beat the boss there. But I'm just plugging away, putting points into my Hades man, and kind of learning what weapons I like. And there's kind of a process where there's a collectible that you get, but you only get a collectible once per boss fight per weapon that you have. So it's kind of encouraged. You can start each run with a different weapon before you even start the run. So you want the sword, do you want the shield, do you want the bow, do you want the gauntlets, whatever it is. And then if you beat a boss for the first time with that weapon, you get a unique item. If you ever face that boss again with that same weapon, then it gives you just the normal run currency.
Oh, so the first time you fight him, you unlock the item into the pool type of.
It's not even an item. It's a currency that I'm keeping that I do not know how to spend yet.
Oh,
weird. Yes, and I like those are the kind of things where it's like, oh, whenever you beat the second boss, you get a diamond, but you only get 1 diamond per weapon. For beating that boss. So there's theoretically a max amount of diamonds in the game because it's just from beating that boss with every different weapon, and then you use those items. Those I've figured out. Use them to upgrade. the musician down in Hades, which does a whole bunch of stuff that I won't spoil. But
Better music, more harmonica.
yeah, it is definitely better music, but I'm still working out what that's doing for me. So it's a really sweet game.
Do you think someone who really liked Bastion and then sort of really bounce off Transistor and then again Pyre?
This game is the most like Bastion.
Yeah, I've heard
this game feels like Bastion. It kind of looks like Bastion, at least in terms of its angle, and you got that tight roll to dodge stuff. It's got a heavy attack. It's got a light attack.
Yeah, it's all real time.
It's all real time.
Transistor, I think, was a little turn-based, if I remember.
Yes, and this is just kind of like runs of Bastion, of procedurally generated Bastion, and then the best part of this game is when you die and get to go back to the start and get all the new plot. So
I should probably, everybody is, like, Hades is the talk of the town.
yes, it's very good.
Everybody is talking about Hades. I bounce off those Supergiant games, so...
Yeah, so the only one that I really bounced off of was Transistor. So worth noting that, where I really like Pyre.
Yeah. Pyre was really interesting thematically.
It was
I just
super
didn't-
different.
Yeah, the sports ball. Yeah,
The sports ball one. I liked it as a NBA Jam fan. It was just close enough to that where I'm like, yeah, this is dope. But yeah, like I was saying, the best part about this game is that you never feel bad when you die, because I don't even know what's ahead. If I keep like going back to the beginning is just as interesting to me as whatever's next right now, because you never just jump back into the next run. You never finish and you're like, okay, I'm on, fuck it, I'm going to run through. It's like, no, now there's different people down in the main area to talk to, and
You got to do the loop and make
talk
sure
to everyone who's got a
is
little speech bubble
updated.
done. Yeah. And it's encouraging you to do that by having like your kind of the kind of secondary layer of storytelling, which is all in the codec, that you get by it literally just says underneath, like, you'll learn more of this person's story after you talk to them 5 more times. So you're just kind of
sit
talking to
there
everyone.
and talk to him 5 more times.
No, they tell you to fuck off after you talk to them
Oh,
once. So.
fuck.
Five more loops.
But it's like everyone. It's like Cerberus, who doesn't even talk, but they're like, talk to Cerberus 5 more times to get their more about their story. And
Maybe he will talk after he gets to know you.
When I say he doesn't talk, Cerberus doesn't talk, but whenever you talk to them, there's like a different thing that happens where it's like, oh, the angry face is annoyed and the happy face is doing this, and it's happy you fed it, or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And the writing's just very good. The art's very good. I got my first duo power, which, as I said before, in Hades, you kind of the way that you really change your character per run is by getting different boons from different gods. And there's and some of this is random, and some of this is kind of identifying this is what the game's doing it and trying to pursue it. But it's like you could get a boon from Zeus, and then later get a boon from Poseidon. And if Poseidon says when you're getting his boon, every now and then he'll say something like, oh, I see you've already talked to my brother Zeus, yada, yada, yada. I'm doper than him. And then you're like, okay, see you, Poseidon. That's good talk. So now you got 1 power from each. And then the next time you see them, they'll both have a boon side by side, and you have to pick which one you want. So you pick the Poseidon one, let's say, and then Zeus, and you'll get that boon, and then Zeus will get mad at you. He'll be like, yo, you didn't take my boon, it's better. And then he'll usually send kind of put you in a challenge room where it's like tons of enemies, and then depending on the god you pissed off, there's also kind of a area trap kind of thing that they're doing too. Like Zeus's is obviously you're dodging big circles of lightning that appear while you're trying to fight everyone off. And if you can survive that, then Zeus will be like, oh, you're pretty good. Take my boon too. So that's not the duo power. That now you just have a couple of each of them. Then every time that you run into them down the road, they'll basically both present you with one thing together, which like stacks on itself.
I see.
So it'll be like, now whenever you use this water dash from Poseidon against someone who's been electrocuted from one of your Zeus powers, it does crazy damage. So, and that seems to be where the pudding's made for the long run.
Yeah.
So.
Presumably there will be like a bunch of different.
Yes.
A combination for each two gods.
And they're like the process of getting one boon and then the other person saying yo, you didn't take my boon, you're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Like, I usually limp out of those things being like, what does it even matter? I'm never going to make it. But that's, I think, just being better at video games and upgrading your character to the fact where I think you'll want to pursue those. You'll want to take that hard route to get the duo powers, because
Seems like we're the
one run where I had enough health to actually make use of them, I was like, oh, I'm just clearing rooms now.
yeah.
So
That game seems dope.
it's really dope.
I should probably play it.
And I don't think it's long I don't think it is long to complete a run. I think it is, the longevity of the game comes in how the story changes alongside completed runs.
Yeah. That sounds dope. That's a good way to approach a roguelike of what if the the progressing through the loop wasn't actually, I mean, I'm sure that is interesting, but what if it wasn't the main thing?
Right.
What if the main thing was this resetting and going back out?
Yeah. They just built a really cool story around the concept, the tropes that already exist with that genre of game.
Yeah. That's cool. It's in early access for 10 million years.
Yes.
No, it's 1.0 now. Isn't
Now
it?
it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Now it is.
It just came out. Yeah. Destiny Shadowkeep.
What?
Yes. There's a game called Destiny 2.
Okay. Is this
There's
the
an
most
old
recent?
this is the most recent. It's not the one coming out. It's the most recent one that has come out.
Trying to talk
was
this out
probably
with you and
months
Andy
ago.
on the headsets that night was so fucking confusing.
Yeah, we got her all settled down. Everything is on Game Pass now.
Okay.
Except for the thing that isn't out yet,
Right.
obviously. And the thing that isn't out yet is going to come out on Game Pass. So
When it comes out, it'll be out on Game Pass. Boom.
right, yes.
Okay.
And then you'll have the Destiny.
Did that change? It got delayed or something.
It got delayed.
Because there was a time I remember it wasn't going to be on Game Pass, but in the new year everything would be.
Right.
And now just everything will be on Game Pass.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's how that works.
Got it.
So the Shadowkeep is an old expansion. This is old. If you've been keeping up with Destiny, you are like, why are you guys talking about this? Which is fair. And it is kind of in an effort to, I want to, for whatever reason, kind of experience that story and get my guy up to the level cap.
Yeah.
For when Beyond Light, which is the new expansion, comes up. Because I heard they did some crazy things with the story in Shadowkeep. And they haven't really so far. But it's getting a lot more into that other side, like the triangles. It seems like the good guy, as far as we know right now, the good guy is the giant sphere. The bad guys are the triangles.
That's what we always thought.
That's right. And still might be.
Yep. But what if it wasn't?
Yes, there's a lot of hypotheticals out there that the circle may be part of something more sinister. I've heard, I don't want to, I shouldn't say that. Because I might even spoil it for the people I'm playing with.
Fair enough.
It's back on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They've brought the moon back, including
Big hive base there.
entire levels from the moon. The moon for Kevin, someone who seemed a little confused.
Where did the moon go?
The moon was always in the sky, but not an accessible location in Destiny 2. That's right. It was a starting, or it was not a starting location, but it was a location that was around from the beginning of Destiny 1, went away for Destiny 2. Now they've brought it back into Destiny 2 as a place that you can land. There's a lot of hive there. You're fighting nightmares during the story, which we'll get into kind of the story of why they exist, but they are versions of bosses that you might recognize from Destiny 1 that have been changed. And on one hand, you're like, it's weird that they made a campaign and filled it with a lot of content that already existed. But then also every time you see one of those guys, I'm like, oh, I remember literally probably spending 20 hours of game time combined fighting this boss over and over and over again, and then not thinking about him for the last 5 years or however long it was. Where the first time we walked into a room and there was a giant ogre from Destiny 1 in the exact same room that we fought that ogre 100 times in Destiny 1.
About those ogres.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh wow, this is like nostalgia's too powerful of a word, but this is a very weird sensation of. It's like we went back to the moon. Yeah. Instead of them just being like, oh, we'll just make a new map and make new areas. It's like, so they've modified.
For sure, that moon thing is part of it's new moon territory in Shadowkeep. It's not part of, because they have some new. It's like the Destiny 1 and 2 campaigns are now blended into this, and maybe it's coming with the new expansion.
Yeah. So right now, in terms of the story, the only thing that they did was you can still play the Red War, right, which is the Destiny 2 campaign. You can still play that in its entirety, but that's going to get vaulted when the new content comes out.
Yeah.
Everything's getting vaulted because they're putting.
Well, they're taking like whole planets
Right,
out of the
they're
campaign.
taking 75% of what was in Destiny 2 at the beginning out.
Damn.
Like, it's a lot.
Wow.
I think it's 4 locations and 2 raids and a bunch of strikes. And they're going to start rolling out new stuff. So because they're doing that, I think what they've had to do, and they've already done a little bit of the work, is you now, when you start a new game, you've never played Destiny before, you start a new game, you boot it up, you actually get the origin story level from Destiny 1.
Yep.
Which is where you wake up in a junkyard.
That
because
wizard is from the moon.
The wizard is from the moon. The ghost has woken you up. It's hilarious. You're in the European Dead Zone, which is not how Destiny 2 started.
Nope.
So
I don't even remember how Destiny 2 started now, to be honest.
you did a very slow walk through a war zone for about 20 minutes. Is how it started. While they gave you a bunch of plot dump.
Good.
So I think that is what they're doing. Is as they pull that Destiny 2 content out, which basically means they have to junk all the story that went along with it, and they're going to bring in some of the Destiny 1 locations as well as new content that they're creating. They have to incorporate more of the story from Destiny 1 back into the game.
It's going to be so weird because
It is going to be very weird.
You're not going to fight Gaul anymore, right? You're not going to do probably not going to have that thing where you're like on the ship dodging the solar flares. And
right. Yes. All that stuff will be
so
gone.
weird. So that story, they must have to make
Destiny
something new for the story.
Like, I think Beyond Light is going to be a big expansion. I think there's going to be a whole new campaign and everything. But in terms of getting you from your guardian, how did my guardian come to be?
Yeah.
They have to pull a lot of that stuff from Destiny 1 so that you're like,
Weird.
oh, this is where I came from.
It's so weird.
And then they just take out everything that happened in the middle and they're like, forget it. And now you start here where you started in Destiny 1, and now this is all our new stuff we just made, and you just button that up together. Everything else goes in the vault.
It's going to be very, very strange when it's all said and done. Because they've also said, too, the vault will not be set. They will occasionally rotate things into and out of the vault.
Yeah.
So how will that campaign change if it does? And a lot of questions.
It is interesting. Because right now the campaign stuff that exists is presented to you, again, if you're just booting up Destiny for the first time. It is presented to you as like quests that you pick up from people on the tower, and they're called legacy quests. And I think it's the ship vendor that gives it to you, where it's just like, we're not going to bother you with any of the 9 million things you could have done between the start of Destiny 2 and now. But if you're ever like, I'd like to know how the Red War went, you can go and like pick up the quest line from the vendor and just play through
I want to do that ship thing again.
Yeah. But also that's going to obviously come out because all those locations are leaving.
Destiny is such a weird like hodgepodge of technologies and has jumped from, it was under Activision and now it's not, and like they should really, I know they said they're not doing Destiny 2 or sorry, like clean break Destiny 3.
Yeah.
It seems like they could really use a clean break and maybe something on a new technology.
Nothing would make me happier, Matt. I feel so.
This is such a weird solution to a problem that like is a weird problem also.
And what I want them to do is something that they're probably not going to do, because a lot of people would think it's very not user friendly and everything, but it's terrible for my mental clutter, where they're just like, there's just 700 quests. And all the like quest givers have these quests that are like abandoned quests that I'm like, oh, I don't care about this. I'm just going to abandon it, delete it. And then it just goes back into the quest giver's like menu.
Yeah.
And you can get it whenever you want. But then they also have quests that just seem to always stay there no matter what you do. And I'm like, I'm the kind of guy that likes to pick off this stuff as it comes by.
Nice log where I could just check things off.
Yeah, and keep it nice and neat. And then I'm going to sign in for this new DLC and get these 3 things I have to do, these 3 major things and these 5 minor things, and just bang those off one by one. And right now it's just like my quest log is just, I don't know what expansion some of this came from. I don't know where the people are that have it. They'll say like a race name, and I'm like,
excuse me?
I don't even know who those people are. And
yeah, I had the exact same thing when I jumped back in just for like a day or two, and they just you log back in for the first time, and like I haven't even played in. I don't even remember the last expansion I played.
Yeah.
It's just like 50 notifications, all these different quests, different types of quests, all these new screens, all these new currencies.
And they do organize them pretty well. Like you can go down the left tabs on the quest thing and be like, okay, just give me all the stuff that is from Shadowkeep. And that's what I've been doing. Where I'm like, I'm just going to ignore everything else and just do the Shadowkeep stuff because that's all I want to interact with right now. And then you can go down more and it's like playlist quests where it's like, these are just quests that you do by playing Vanguard Strikes and Crucible and Gambit, which are like the kind of the more multiplayer focused stuff. So I kind of have it, like, it is organized well enough that I can be like, I'm just going to ignore these tabs and do these tabs.
Yeah.
I just would also like all those quests in those other tabs to go away.
I don't want to see
in a
them.
way that they're tough to make go away. So like I was saying, I would kind of want them to just bring in Beyond Light and be like, nothing you could ever do before is even available now.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Might as well
Start
be a new
over.
game. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
But I don't think they're going to do that because they've even come out and said, because people obviously complain about like, oh, well, when you take Mercury away, how am I going to do this quest?
Yeah, I really like playing the Shadowkeep stuff. If you take it away, what am I going to do?
Right, or I want this exotic weapon, and the only way to do it is to do this mission in this planet. And they're like, all that stuff will be made available through some other means.
Yeah, they'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
It's a weird game. And it's just so big now, which is why I think this is a great
huge.
idea. As much as some people don't want them to vault it. It's like, we just need less Destiny.
Yes.
And we need the Destiny that is there to be good.
Been fighting that fight for a long time.
Yeah.
Most game, not best game.
Yeah.
Just because it's big doesn't mean it's great.
I didn't even think Destiny was big until they said how big Destiny was. I was
Yeah.
like,
2 is
well,
pretty
there's like
big.
6 places you can land, and
They add on
Yeah,
new
and-
spots. And,
so
that's cool. I'm looking forward to actually getting back in there and seeing that new expansion. I
That'll
want
be
what the
neat.
triangles are up to.
Trials are up to something.
Definitely up to something. I played a game called. Well, I want to talk very quickly about this Genshin Impact. This sweeping the nation by storm. Is the anime? It looks exactly like Breath of the Wild. Like the art style is 1000% Breath of the Wild, to the point where someone, I remember this, but don't remember where or when, smashed a PS4, I think, in protest, or smashed a Switch or something. I don't remember. Smashed a console in protest because they were so mad that like,
looked like
they're
Breath of the
stealing
Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
See, you need your soldiers.
That's
Stand by
right.
and stand down, Nintendo fans.
Jesus.
Proceed.
So anime Breath of the Wild, it's free to play, PC, Android, iOS, PS4, everything except Xbox. I think it is coming to Switch later. It is a like weirdly competent. That's a weird way to put it. It seems way better than it has any right to be for a free game.
Yeah.
The monetization stuff. Boy, where to even start? So it is Breath of the Wild. Is this third-person exploration? The art style, cel-shaded. The world looks very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You have a stamina meter when you climb that is slowly ticking down, just like Breath of the Wild. I haven't seen it rain, but the weather does change in a way that I'm sure it can. You're cooking like in Breath of the Wild.
Does it have good cooking music?
It does not. You're kind of doing it's like a mini game almost. When you're cooking, you can cook good, you can cook cool,
I see.
or you can
Yes.
cook poorly.
Cook cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
And like even the way like you're hacking at these iron nodes and iron is like tunk 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 rolling down the hill. I'm like even these physics feel like
Breath of the
it's got a
Wild.
glider like Breath of the Wild, although the glider
Jesus.
fucking sucks compared to the Breath of the Wild one. But it is a kind of a like almost Devil May Cry action game. It is much more combat oriented than
I like
Breath
that
of the Wild.
better than Breath of the Wild combat.
Yeah, it's much more combat oriented, where it seems to be built around kind of elemental interactions. You have a team of 4.
Okay.
You are one character, but you are switching to your different characters on the fly, like in the middle of a combo if you want. And you are building a team. This is where the monetization comes in. It's kind of a gotcha element where I haven't encountered it yet, but I guess as there will be different team members who, some are presumably just more powerful. These are the good ones to get out of the slot machine, and the weaker ones. But they all have different elements, and the elements are, it's fire, electricity, poison, whatever their nature poison one is called.
Glove.
Glove, probably. Yep. And it's all what you would expect. And if something
Sort of Captain Planet's elements.
that's right. If something gets wet and you freeze it, you use cold on it, it freezes. If something is wet and you use electricity on it, it has this chain lightning effect and it amplifies damage or whatever. And the combat very much seems about juggling those elemental effects, but it's fast and frantic where like sometimes on the last hit of combos they'll have elemental effects, so you can get into combos where like I'll get into this combo and my first dude will do a fire hit and light this dude on fire, and then I'll switch to my nature girl and still in the combo. The combo is completing, but now it applies this nature hit, which because he's on fire, it blows up. And I'll switch to my lightning guy, and lightning and whatever the superconduct effect it has on it has an effect also. And I'll switch to my ice guy, and you're getting like these 4 or 5 elemental like bang, 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 bang right in a row. And it is much more combat focused and oriented than Breath of the Wild.
That's fun.
The combat's really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the combat. Yeah. The anime part of it, I think, kind of fucking sucks. I don't know. You have your Navi equivalent, your fairy character. Her name is Paimon, and if you've ever seen or played any anime games, you've heard this person's voice. It is like the high pitched like, oh, Paimon thinks we should do this.
Oh, Majin Buu.
Kind of, but it's a woman's voice, but it's very high pitched, and Paimon speaks in the third person, and Paimon fucking sucks.
See, you were almost right bang on until fucking sucks with Majin Buu.
Yeah, well, you die. If Paimon ever says you die, then now we're talking.
We got a winner.
So if your tolerance for that style of like anime and writing is higher than mine, you'll probably really enjoy it. It's not for me.
Yeah, mine's not personally.
Yeah.
And I also run into, I always say, I told you this over Slack where I'm like, oh, I wasn't a big Breath of the Wild fan. And I need to preface that by saying, and I just looked it up to fact check it, I think Breath of the Wild was my 4th favorite game from that year. So I like Breath of the Wild fine.
Yeah.
I just,
not enough to play an
wasn't
anime
the
clone of it,
world
maybe.
beater that it was for a lot of people. And if you take the Breath of the Wild and then layer on top anime that's maybe not so good.
Yeah, it's not that it's not so. It's like Dragon Quest. You know, they talk in Dragon Quest, and it's like not how anyone talks in the real world. And sometimes you just want to just like, holy
talks.
fuck, god damn it, some of these characters are the worst.
And then I also layer on it that I don't really like gacha games.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm kind of like getting hung up on in a positive way is like this fucking Devil May Cry combat sounds kind of fun.
It's a combat, and it is free to try out.
Yeah.
Like honestly, my first 3 or 4 hours with it was me just being like, where's the hook? This seems too good to be true. This is weird.
Yes.
It looks and runs and plays way too fucking well.
When are you gonna ask for my credit card?
Exactly, and I haven't hit it yet, but I'm sure it's coming. And it is a little bit like Breath of the Wild is about being alone in this massive space and the like joy of discovery, and is very kind of covert, and you know you are finding your way. You see a glint off in the distance. You're finding your way to that very naturally. What is this game called? Genshin Impact is the exact opposite, where everyone is just screaming like, you need to go to this place and do this thing right now, and you just have a huge thing of quests, and like
nightmare
marks all over the map, and like instead of you discovering it, people are just like, we need you to go do these things. But there is still also the like, you will stumble onto those parts of the world where you're like 2 lit torches and 1 unlit torch that I found. You're like, something, I bet if I light that torch, something will happen. And sure enough, just like in Zelda, something of course happens every time. And that part of it is still very good. The like world puzzles. It's cool. It's like really well made in a way
it's cool even in just that it seems like a full game.
Yeah.
That is free.
And it's like a single player action RPG. There is a co-op aspect to it, I guess, but I haven't unlocked that yet.
And it's something that like I just have not seen them do on a genre, like a game of this genre.
No.
Like this is not a Rocket League or Fortnite where it's like, oh, you're just playing little rounds, or an Apex where free to play makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
this is like
seems like it's like 100
like
hour
you said,
RPG Dragon Quest.
There's
thing.
a whole game here for free. What's the catch?
Yeah, it's very good. And legally, if it flies, like if Nintendo doesn't, again, I think you can 100% get away with this. More games should, honestly. Like that art style is so fucking rad, and I love that stamina climbing system. It's a great way to get around a world of like you can climb anything, but your stamina is a limiting factor instead of like, oh, that rock you just can't climb for some reason.
It's a fucking sheer cliff is why.
More
no
people
problem
should
with that. Just run your horse right.
Make the
side.
cliff too high.
Yeah.
Don't make it like physically unclimbable. I hate that. We're like,
yeah, but for like, I mean, I was the opposite way with Breath of the Wild, where I'd be like, you can't climb this cliff. Like I'm climbing the cliff, but like, you can't climb the cliff. He didn't even have fucking pickaxes out. He's just fucking
No, Breath of the Wild was like present me with a vertical wall, and I was like, yeah, I can find a way up there. Yeah. Totally. I bet I can. Maybe I can freeze that thing in time and recover some stamina while I'm resting. I can find a way.
Looks like there's like a little slit in the geometry there. I can put my toes on.
You see a line? I'm good.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I recommend everybody check it out. Genshin Impact. And then I also played another game this week called Legend of Keepers, which feels like it's missing a word, the. Legend of the Keepers. Legend of Keepers.
Legend of Keepers could be about soccer goalies.
I was about to say
It's true. But even then, you would probably still say the Legend of the Keepers, wouldn't you? You wouldn't say Legend of Goalies.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right.
I guess it depends.
Legend of Pizza Delivery.
I mean, if you say Legend of Keepers, I'm thinking
it's a
of
person named Keepers.
No, I'm thinking of more of like what makes keepers in general what they are.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is what it takes to be a keeper. Whereas if you said the Legend of the Keepers, then I'd be like, this is about some specific keepers.
Yeah,
Okay, well, then.
it's about the general concept of keepers.
This game is about the general concept of being a dungeon keeper. So it's sort of like FTL meets Dungeon Keeper. It's a roguelite, but you are, instead of flying a spaceship, you are defending a dungeon from heroes who
Like for you, to speak your language, Legend of Streamers versus Legend of the Streamers.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, you know what it takes to be a streamer.
Influencers. Thank you. I just made myself choke. I really didn't
do
know
it.
that. Let me just wet my whistle.
The little animal working the controls is like, that's not funny, Matt.
That's some fucking Aaron driving the Titan. Go on, Stock on Titan. What was I talking about? Legend of Keepers. Yes. So there are 3 keepers in the game. It's in early access right now. 3 keepers in the game. Seems like they're all going to have unique, or I haven't unlocked any others. They all have kind of unique monsters they can unlock and traps and powers and things. But you are. So the point I've got up to, my dungeon has 2 rooms. 2 rooms I can fight in. Mm-hmm. I have a staff of monsters. My monsters...
A staff?
A staff,
like
yes.
a working staff?
Like a working staff,
okay.
yes.
Hire them out, put them to work.
That's right.
Just wanted to make sure I understood.
Sometimes...
It could also be like a summoning stick of monsters.
Fair enough. No, it is employees. They're employees.
Yes. Okay.
And you are going through weeks. You'll have different, the equivalent of like a path to choose, where you'll be presented with a bunch of different options each week, and it can be things like a seminar. I want to send my skeleton lord on a seminar in Albany, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm gonna send my dungeon master to the gym. He's gonna get stronger so that he can fight better or whatever. And so you're leveling up your monsters, and then every now and again heroes will come, and you have to defend the dungeon. There are 2 rooms you can position your monsters in. Each one has 3 slots. Monsters have this motivation meter that as you use them and they die, it'll go down. You gotta let them take vacations. Employees need breaks.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, this game sounds glorious.
It's very good. And so you position these 3 monsters. Most of them have 2 attacks. Some only have 1 attack and a passive skill. But once they're positioned, there's a whole, like, every unit has a bunch of different resistance types. There's like fire, ice, nature, all that nonsense. Love. I think I said glove the first time.
That's why I thought you were laughing, because I heard you say love, which was obviously the Captain Planet reference.
Oh, yes.
And then I heard Matt say glove, and I'm like...
Good. We've hammered out this joke later in the show.
But then you are there. They have speed, and once you set all your monsters up, there's some trap rooms where you just pick which trap you want to go in. A couple other options you pick, and then the heroes start coming through. It is turn based, where your monsters will, whatever attacks they have 3 attacks. You just pick which of the 3 you want them to use. They will attack different slots, and there's a lot of depth of like, oh, this one does X damage to the front and back, and there are a lot of effects and things I won't go into, but there are very much synergies that you are building as you, like in most roguelites, are getting these.
Sorry, is this like a real time thing playing out before you as a overseer?
It's not real time. It's turn based, but it is. Yeah, you're watching the heroes go through, and then all right, it's my skeleton's turn. I want him to do the arrow volley this time.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they work their way through. Your dungeon masters at the end. If they ever kill your dungeon master, you lose. And you are, you're leveling up your hero, your units. They're getting better. More powerful heroes are coming. You are getting artifacts, just like Binding of Isaac or Slay the Spire, that have, they seem to be random and have different powerful effects. There are synergies built in where a lot of the artifacts seem to be like, if you have all demons in this room, they're better. If you have 2 skeletons, or like all your skeletons get this effect or whatever. And it's really, I don't like it's kind of simple. It's not as it's not like as high level thinking as an XCOM. It doesn't feel like, where you're kind of there's quite a bit of depth, but I'm never missing the 99% and being like, fuck. But it's cool. It's fun. It's a neat little, the inversion of, I like Dungeon Keeper a lot. I don't know. I like being the bad guy a lot, and it's fun too.
And it's also like it's, I assume, like XCOM, although I'm not an XCOM expert, it's like a matter of you're sending these people to like seminars and shit, and then they're not there
Yeah,
to defend your.
He's been gone for 19
your
weeks
house.
on this fucking seminar in New York, but we got the champion coming in 2 weeks. I don't know if I can spare this guy.
That's true.
It's
That
very
seems
cool.
neat. And were we talking like you said skeleton? Were we talking like classic monsters like Dracula's and
I've seen like
Frankenstein's?
yeah,
or were we talking
more like fantasy orcs
monsters?
and gnolls and wendigos and things. Wendigos. Yeah, is that what they are in
Wendigo.
what's
Until
that game
Dawn?
called? Until Dawn. Yeah.
For some, they say it really. Apparently, that's how you say it. I think it's Wendigos, but the way they say it in Until Dawn always made me.
They're Americans.
Yeah, a bunch of rednecks.
Butchering the Brits language.
Legend of Keepers. What, Kev, you play any games?
Other than the ones we talked about to death.
Yeah, I still play a lot of Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
Meet if anybody wants to join our team and help us cheat, wants to collude with us.
I've almost got to the 6K maximum ceiling floor, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, because you can't go below 6K,
Yeah,
right?
Once you're above it, you can't drop back below it. But that's the last one where they give you that platform.
You're almost at 6K?
Yeah.
I'm right there too. I'm at like 54 this morning.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 59 and change.
You're like right there.
Yeah. But I am seriously considering picking up Baldur's Gate 3 tomorrow.
Fucking
In early
baby.
access?
In early
Kevin?
access, I know.
So unlike you, maybe.
I
don't actually
heard
know.
a story today that game is 165 gigabytes on the hard drive. I didn't
That's
pull it
so
for,
many gigabytes.
I didn't pull it for news, but yes, there was something happening where it was 90 last week in this new early access.
What's COD at now? I saw a story that COD could no longer fit on a 250 storage.
Doesn't fit
drive.
on a 256 SSD anymore.
It's
which
gonna
is
be
so
it's
stupid.
gonna be one of those situations where when I was playing Ark, where I had to delete everything else from my computer in order to download Ark and play it.
Yep.
It could be that for this game. But I'm gonna check it out.
Yes.
It comes out, like I say, tomorrow, October 6th for early access.
It looks so dope.
If
It looks so dope.
if it's on any sort of sale, I'll pick it up for sure.
Yeah.
Like if it's not $80, if it's anything below $80, I'll pick it up. If it is full price for the early access, then I'll think about it. Because I'm like, if I'm going to pay full price for a game, why would I play the early access when I could just wait for it to come out?
Yeah.
So if there's any sort of discount, I'll definitely pick it up. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
It looks so fucking good. Does it have a multiplayer thing?
It does.
Do we know?
Yes, confirmed. Yes.
All right, you maybe
Don't
let me
look at
know.
me.
Oh, I don't know if the early access has a multiplayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say
should
maybe let me know how done it looks and if that's in there.
I
And
should say,
maybe
yeah.
I'll also get Baldur's Gate 3 in early access.
But
Yeah, that seems
yeah,
dope.
that game looks super good.
It's,
I've been
Larian.
slowly watching videos on it and just getting more and more hyped for when it comes out. Which who knows when
Perfect.
real
I got an
release
email
is going to
about
be.
that. That's perfect.
Beauty.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I did. I watched for those of you who have been waiting for as long as I have. Season finale of episode 10 of Walking Dead finally came out
Oh, shit.
wow.
after like
That's
10
the
and a
end,
half
right?
months. One more season after this one.
Oh fuck.
But-
Okay.
It's long too, isn't it?
God damn it.
The episode itself?
No, the next season.
Oh yeah,
68
it's
episodes.
supersized. Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
supersized
I
episode.
think it's like 26 episodes or something
There's
like
so
that.
many episodes.
When they
you might as
normally
well
do,
not
like-
even think about the fact that the
That's like,
show's ending.
yeah, that's
for
like
a while.
2 more seasons.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's wild. Lovecraft Country. We'll do our TV check-in real fast.
Yes.
Lovecraft Country continues to be
Really good.
incredible.
I have not seen this Sundays. We got to be getting close to finale on that,
Yeah,
right?
this was 8. I don't know how many they're doing. This,
Yeah,
I
me
don't think this one's the. If this was the finale, fuck me.
Yeah.
I don't think this was the last episode.
No, I don't either. I think it's at least 10, maybe
Yeah.
12. Finished Raised by Wolves.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was
also
a weird ending.
Very
Not
weird.
really sure about
Good,
that
It
one.
was pretty. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it though. Enjoyed the ride. I'll say.
There's something really weird happening with a show called The Third Day on Crave, where
That's the Jude Law show.
that's a Jude Law
Yeah.
show, and they've had a day 1, day 2, day 3, one episode each,
Yeah.
and then apparently did a 12-hour live performance thing on HBO, like a stage performance.
Can you go back and watch it?
I think so. It's on somewhere.
Is that like part of the can? Like if you're
I
watching
think
the
it-
show, the
so,
12-hour live
I think
performance
it's part of
comes
the
in?
canon, but the person in charge said that you did not need to watch it to understand what happened in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I watched episode 1 and had no idea what was happening.
And it kind of keeps going from there.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah.
I actually,
Makes
it was
less
one,
and less sense.
It was one of those shows where I wondered if I fell asleep without noticing, because by the end, I'm
Yes.
like, what was this show about?
There are absolutely jarring, like, you were in a cave and now you're on the beach and I didn't even fucking see you, like, make a movement. Like, it's very good.
Yeah.
Well, I should say it's very good. I'm enjoying it.
It's got Jude Law.
Yeah.
He's very good.
He is very good, and it, like, the camera is in his face for 90% of the show. Like, it's his eyes darting around, and you're like, Jude Law's fucking eye acting.
He's going crazy.
It is so... This is one of my favorite parts about TV, is if you put out one episode a week, I almost always got time for your show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like, as long as it's not truly god-awful, but I'm watching shows that I'm like, I would never in a million years watch this show if I even had to watch all 10 episodes at once. But because it's like,
Westworld
it's Sunday.
Season 3.
Yeah. If it's like, oh, it's Sunday, that's Lovecraft Country day, I'm going to watch that.
One hour, maybe throwing away an hour on a Sunday is way easier than maybe throwing away 10 hours trying to
Exactly.
get through this fucking thing.
I will also say maybe my favorite thing I've watched, which is a tough sell because you have to have Apple Plus, is Ted Lasso.
Oh.
And boy, did I go into that show with no expectations. And it might be the only show I've watched in years that makes me happy. All the other shows, I'm like, these are good. They don't make me happy.
Yeah, I'm sad.
Yeah, they make me sad. Ted Lasso is the best show I've watched in a long time that made me happy, where I was just sitting there the other day I watched the finale. All 10 are out now, but they're only half hour long.
A lot of my YouTube videos come with Ted Lasso ads.
Yeah, fucking get way into Ted Lasso, Kev.
Got you pegged.
It's fucking dope. I was watching it, and I remember it, like, ended, and I was just like, I fucking needed this right now. I fucking needed this show in my life.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Is Better Call Saul back on? Wait a
No.
minute. Or what, did they just do a new season? Did we just have a season? How many seasons are on? I feel like I might be behind on a season of Better Call Saul now that I say
There
that.
is a season that is over, but does not yet exist on Netflix.
Yeah, that's probably it then.
Yeah.
Is that 5?
That might be.
Yeah, I think there's
that's
5 seasons so far.
Yeah, that's the 5th season.
Yeah. Fuck, I can never remember what that show.
It's fucking good.
It's so
because
good.
you're getting real tight to the start of
You can
Breaking
see
Bad
the
now.
end.
In fact, you can kind of almost. I'm starting to wonder if there's like an overlap time wise. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Walter White might already be doing his thing. I'm not sure, and they're not like being very upfront about it. But there are some things because it's very much about.
Hector is like your calendar
and
kind
it's
of.
very much about.
Has he had a stroke yet, or?
And it's about Gus and his crew, more than like the original people that you deal with in Breaking Bad right now. So you're kind of looking at the Gus timeline up to when you meet Gus in Breaking Bad, but you're like, oh yeah, but there was also like 2 seasons of Breaking Bad before you ever met Gus. So maybe that's happening right now. Like,
Just can't get enough of Giancarlo Esposito.
he's so good.
Huh.
He just keeps doing the same. He's in The Boys,
Yep.
also another show.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian.
He's just always the villain. He's always
Just
the
playing-
evil guy.
and not even just the villain, just playing the exact same guy.
He's always Gus Fring.
Yeah, exactly.
Far Cry. Let's take a quick break here. We'll come back, read some news stories, some emails. We'll see you on the other side of this musical break. Top story tonight. Let's talk about Peter Parker's face.
Let's.
It's changing in the remaster of Marvel's Spider-Man for PS5. They're changing a lot of stuff. New suits. It's going to run better.
Yes. It
Also,
looks fucking like the screen grabs look.
oh yeah,
fantastic.
The reflections. They're doing
Yes.
real reflections now
Yep.
instead of because remember Spider-Man on PS4. I remember being obsessed with the way they like faked their weird
Right,
reflections.
because they actually did a very good job.
Yeah.
But they were clearly
You could break them in
fakes.
some real obvious
Yeah.
ways. The reflections look amazing, and also as a part of this remaster, they have completely fucking changed the face of Peter Parker, like 1,000 completely. The old one kind of looked a little bit like Andrew Garfield, a little bit of
I can see that.
This one looks a lot like Tom Holland to me.
This this looks to me way more like Tom Holland than the other one looked like Andrew Garfield.
Yes,
like Andrew
1,000%.
I heard some other people say it too, and I never would have thought, oh, he kind of looks like Andrew Garfield. This guy, as soon as they put the thing out, I was like, that's a Tom Holland looking motherfucker.
I legit thought I'm like, oh shit, they made him Tom Holland. That's weird, but he just happens to look like him. Apparently, the reason they give, I don't buy this at all, but they say in order to bring out the best possible visuals for the remastered version of the game, the development team needed a better match for the facial capture done by Yuri Lowenthal, the voice of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Okay, I have a lot of questions.
Okay. This seems like a news story that's going to go some places.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. If it maybe in like 2 months or whatever, we'll find out the real.
Yeah,
you
this
know,
could be
we really just did need to update
Yes.
the face. It looked terrible in Super HD or whatever. But
let's get into the good.
yeah,
the
this is
good
way
stuff.
more fun.
Yeah.
So okay, real question is Miles Morales. Maybe Peter Parker's not going to be a Miles Morales, I guess. But
Right.
if is Peter going to have a new face? And if I have Miles Morales on the PS4, will I get new Peter face? Is Peter going to be in that game? That's a question I have.
for in my head, where that's all that matters. I feel like Peter Parker is always going to look like old Peter Parker on the PS4, no matter what you play.
Okay.
Because I think that game's done.
Yeah.
And then
Miles Morales, yeah.
Miles Morales
But
included.
maybe they got the new face. I don't know. If they knew it was coming, maybe they could have got the new face in Miles.
Maybe, yeah, they could have. And then I think Peter Parker across all the PS5 will look like new Tom Holland Peter Parker.
Yes.
But we also, like you said up front, we don't even know that Peter Parker's in Miles Morales. And we certainly don't know that Peter Parker's in Miles Morales without a mask. So
Yes. Okay, second question. Not this one, not even a question, but
Yes.
I just sort of put to you that the graphical increase is pretty incredible. Totally agree, 100%.
looks great.
It's not so incredible that you're like, man, this face that we used to have looks like fucking trash. Now this is the most like it still looks totally like Mary Jane still looks real fucked up then by comparison.
So I want to preface, because I want to go down this rabbit hole with you. I want to preface by being like, I have no fucking idea what happens to old Spider-Man's face when you put it through they never made
a leather like stretch over
they
it.
never made that picture available to us, which maybe would have got some people on their side where people are like, oh yeah, you're right, you did need to change it.
But if that picture existed, I bet they would have put that out there. I think it's a big work. I think this ties into. I'm getting really excited. Somehow this is going to tie into the multiverse Spider-Man stuff, because right now nobody knows what the fuck is going on with the Spider-Verse. Jamie Foxx is out there he's Electro again, but he's not blue.
He's not blue Electro.
No one even knows what the movie or game. No one knows.
Okay, so we're going to go slow through this.
Yes. So I guess to finish my thought, I think it is a multiverse thing, and this is a literal different version of Peter Parker than is in I think the PS4 version of Peter Parker. They're gonna. You know what I'm saying?
So I feel like if you are trying to tie this into movies, then I think you are doing a disservice by making your character look more like Tom Holland, unless you are implying that this is Tom Holland Spider-Man, which you can't do because those backstories are already too different.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a movie. I don't think it's going to be a movie tie-in.
Maybe not even like
the way I was willing to follow you is. Maybe it's going to be something to do with the Avengers game.
Yeah, so that was my first real. The Jamie Foxx stuff totally blew my.
So I think the Jamie Foxx stuff is worth talking about, but I think that's its own whole big crazy thing with what they're doing on the film end.
Yes,
and he's not tied to any of the video games, is he? He's just for the new movie.
We don't know.
He isn't like he's not right now.
Yeah.
Like he is. We have no reason to think he's a part of any video games except for.
We previously had no reason to think he was part of any Spider-Man movies either, until he tweeted that thing of like, I'm Electro, y'all.
Right. So as much as any information is possible until proven otherwise, we only know that he is playing Electro in a movie. He is not blue.
Or at least claims to be.
Yes. He is also already played Electro in a Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and is now playing it in a new Spider-Man, but he's not blue, which makes you think he's a different Electro. So this could be anything as innocent as like the J. Jonah Jameson thing. This could be anything as innocent as we actually really liked what Jamie Foxx was going for there. Those movies still have nothing to do with what we're doing, but Jamie Foxx had something. We want to kind of relaunch that character with Jamie Foxx. Or it could be something as not innocent as all these worlds are connected. There will eventually be a movie with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, all as Spider-Man at the same time, fighting a all-star team of the Sinister Six pulled from different movies.
Michael Keaton.
Yes. Michael Keaton's Vulture, Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio, whoever played Dr. Octopus 2, I never remember his name, or in Spider-Man 2 from Tobey. You can stick Kraven the Hunter, which they're
Willem?
making now.
We gotta get Willem in there.
Willem's not part of the Sinister Six, but bring him in.
Green Goblin.
Green
Not
Goblin
part of the
is.
Sinister
Yeah, he is.
Six,
No,
eh?
not part of the.
I mean,
original
not if we're
Sinister
talking
Six.
about the original Sinister
Which I think
Six.
is
here we go,
I think
nerds.
I think that's like the Avengers. That's like saying, well, Spider-Man was in the Avengers.
Yeah.
He's not a Avenger.
Don't look at me. I'm not. Listen,
I
I,
mean,
just
which
like
Avengers
Willem.
team are we talking about?
That's
here?
exactly. I think every Spider-Man villain has been in the Sinister Six at some point.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
Just like every hero's in the Avengers eventually.
I'll tell you right now, speaking for my boy Willem and my boy Green Goblin, he is too good for the Sinister Six.
Here.
He is not too good to be brought back for this movie.
Standalone movie. Give Willem his own fucking movie.
That's right. Green Goblin movie.
Yeah, so I don't, and to be like, I don't know if I think it's going to tie into, say, the MCU, because the film, the Spider-Man film, the Spider-Man is weird license-wise.
That's the most fucked thing. Like, we're trying to tie in this kind of, for fun, this face swap thing.
Yeah.
But the fuckness of the Spider-Verse movie stuff is standing just fine on its own as fucked.
Yes, everything
And then
is.
this might be a part of it.
That's
Who
right.
knows? Yeah.
It's so fun to think that maybe it is.
Yes.
And yes, the faces didn't match. The company getting in there spending all that money to recast this done game that they are like, let's be real here, just kind of turning up some settings in the back end, click the button that turns the ray tracing on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy it. It's just the
And I was saying in the
Yeah.
chat, unlike almost everything we talk about on the show, this is an answerable question.
right.
We're going to know,
We'll know.
soon enough what the reason
and
was.
then my other very cynical one was like, oh, this is how Spider-Man is going to look in Marvel's The Avengers, because they're all kind of knockoff MCUs. Here's your knockoff Tom Holland.
Yeah, I'm not going to go down
Get
that
him in
rabbit
there.
hole
Get him in
because
there.
because I so strongly actively disagree to the point that we don't need to talk about it
Yeah,
anymore.
that's an answerable question.
Yes.
Here's a great story. Sony is finally. When did the PS1 come out? I'm trying to think how many years it's been. A lot, almost 30. They are switching the confirm and cancel buttons in Japan. No longer do you press circle in Japan to go forward in a menu and X to back up. What are you booing?
Yeah, what's
What are
up
you-
with that?
What are you booing?
We never should have made the switch over in North
Genshin,
America.
You're right. But good guys win. Bad guys, aka the Japanese, lose.
But like, so here's what. So you want?
No, I'm just glad
the
the world. Yeah, that's it. That's the story. I'm just glad the world has parity because Genshin Impact. It's a Chinese game. It does that thing where you're using circle to go forward and X to go back. And fuck me, is that a hard switch to make?
That always just like I remember the first time Metal Gear asked me to do that, and I was just like, "This is great. This is how I know I'm making something or playing something weird. This wasn't made in America."
But the Switch does it too, though. On the Switch, confirm is over here on the side, and cancel is go back on the bottom. And it's so fucked to try to make that switch, even just going from consoles. We just
never
gotta
noticed that one.
We just got to bring Nintendo into the fold, and then we're laughing.
Yeah, I want to say for me it was Final Fantasy VII was Japanese style, and then Final Fantasy VIII was North America style. And going from those two games, because I played them both back to back,
Going into menus and
it was like
automatic or
always
accidentally attacking.
Always fucked up.
Fuck.
Always fucked up. It took me like 2 games to get into the North American way of doing it.
Our problem is we can't get over the like. In order to continue, I want to push the bottom where
Yeah.
the button where I rest my thumb.
That's right.
Which is always the bottom button.
Yep.
That means go.
But it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have
and
to
the
be.
logic on the Japanese end is way better, where it's like the circle means yes, it means good, let's go. X means no, we're going the wrong way, we got to go back.
Makes sense.
In North American culture, though, X can kind of mean like X can mark the spot, right? X can you fill out forms by putting an X like
Yeah, but O never means go back.
O means off on our electronics. Solid line is
It also means on.
open. Circle is off.
It's I don't like it.
Not.
I would have rather flipped it the other way.
No, well, sure. As long as
Yes.
all of us on the same page.
Yes.
That's all I want. And then
Yes.
Xbox would have been the fucked one. We just got to
All
bring Nintendo over.
We need triangle to be accept.
Why don't you just
Triangle is
fucking
yes from now on.
We just need a new
I can get on
accept
board with
button.
triangle.
Center of we need a fifth button in the center.
The PlayStation button is the new.
yes, the
That's
new
like
accept.
that's like the war table compromise where it's just like you can't get anywhere, and they're like, "Why in triangle?" And they're like, "Why in triangle? Let's do it." Yeah.
It's our game of the year for our podcast. That co-op mode in Ghost of Tsushima called Legends coming out October the 16th. They added a new horse apparently and a new Game Plus mode. A new game plus mode for when you finish that 287-hour game and want to go get the Fox Shrines again.
I'm going to tell you right now, also on top of that, with everything that I've experienced in that game story-wise, there's no reason to have a new horse in that game.
It's got a new name. Sora 2. New Smash character got announced?
Yes.
Everyone's favorite, Kevin. You know him. Minecraft Steve.
The Minecraft guy has a name?
Yeah. So I thought this was the guy from the Minecraft. I thought this was Patton Oswalt from the, what's that Minecraft Telltale game?
Oh, Minecraft.
Yeah, whatever that one is.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's not, apparently the default character model is just Minecraft Steve, and the female one is Alex.
And then there's the scary looking one, right?
Yeah, Enderman. Alt skins. Yeah, Enderman, Creeper. He looks wild. Steve looks crazy. Did you watch any like the gameplay reveal stuff?
Yeah, and it like. Which makes sense if you watch the gameplay reveal stuff, but they actually had to do a whole bunch of work on existing levels to let him do his mechanic stuff where he like picks up blocks and shit.
Yeah, it's very cool. He can like mine materials. They literally put crafting tables on the map. Anytime you play a Minecraft character, a crafting table goes down. You have to run to the crafting table to craft a new pickaxe when yours breaks, or a sword or whatever.
It's like, it was by name when I saw it on Twitter first. I was like, first of all, this makes 100% sense. I was talking to Warren about how, I think it was Warren, about how I thought that they were going to do a Microsoft property.
Mm-hmm. Master Chief.
I didn't think it was going to be Master Chief. I actually talked myself into the fact that I thought it might be Ori.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. But it totally makes sense to do Minecraft. It's one of the most valuable Nintendo video game properties of all time, not Nintendo. But I was still like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm happy he's in the game. I'll play anyone.
Minecraft
this
ain't a classic Nintendo thing.
This isn't for me. I'm not getting excited for Minecraft Steve. Yeah. And then you watch the video and you're like, this guy's going to be fucking fun.
I was exactly the same as you, where I'm like, oh, that's neat. I don't care about Minecraft, but I'll look at this for the show.
Yeah.
And then watching Sakurai do his, like, he jumps lower so he can jump and put a block under, and like watching him go through all the different minutiae and details of the character, I'm like, fuck this.
Can you dig up the background maps?
I'm not
like
really sure.
Change the terrain completely.
On the Minecraft maps, you definitely can, because he's like lifting blocks, and other characters can attack blocks and break them out. When Kirby sucks him up, Kirby turns into a fucking cube. Oh, Kirby! Have you seen Cube Kirby?
Cube Kirby,
it's so dope.
I'm real on board. I think all the DLC they've done for this specific iteration of Smash Brothers. All the characters have been super unique.
Yeah.
They've all added like a weird element that was not in the game before, whether it was like Banjo-Kazooie had the thing where you have like 5 times, you have a little counter with the golden arrows on 5 times you can use a specific move. So that added that layer of strategy. And then Hero was very much, Min Min was super weird because it was, A was mapped to one arm and B was mapped to the other arm, which is something that Smash has never worked like. And Hero was one of the craziest ones where it had the RNG attacks when you
what's
open
Hero from? Oh, Dragon Quest?
Dragon Quest, right. Yeah. And you just bring up the menu, and it would just be 4 different attacks every time you bring it up, and you just have to quickly, because when you bring up the menu, you're just standing there, and someone can attack you, so you just bring it up, and you'd be like, these are the 4 I got, you self-destruct.
It's very cool. They like the way that they shoehorn characters into Minecraft, into Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
I think is super dope.
Like, they're doing a way better job with these new characters than they did creating that initial fighter base.
Oh,
where
yeah,
it's
1,000%.
like, all these characters are kind of the same, and then someone will tell you, like, well, this guy's sword swings a little faster. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm never going to be good enough to
does
notice.
more damage on the tip. And
yeah. So, like, I don't care about that stuff, but all the characters they put in recently have been like, these are all so different.
Yeah, they're very, very cool. There's a Need for Speed Hot Pursuit remaster coming November the 6th. Any Hot Pursuit fans?
No.
Boys, girls?
Forza Horizon's the only racing game for me.
Fair
except
enough.
for when I strike it rich and get the Fast and Furious one.
This one's Cops versus Robbers. Also, that Fast and Furious game. Have you seen that Fast and Furious? Okay,
that's why I have to strike it rich before I buy it.
Fuck yeah. Cops and Robbers. I don't think I played Hot Pursuit, but I did love Most Wanted, and this one is reviewed very well. So if it's a good Cops and Robbers game, I might pay the $30 on Steam.
Be the robbers.
Cross-platform multiplayer, new achievements, autolog, that thing where it's like, Brandon beat your time by 2 seconds or whatever. That's all coming back. I might check that. It's a Criterion game from the folks who made Burnout. The Need for Speeds that we like. And my last story this week This would have been, what is the 6th month? The 6th month, May, June. This would have been June of last year. CD Projekt Red, the folks who made The Witcher, who are currently working on Cyberpunk, they got out there and were talking a bunch of mess about how they weren't going to have any crunch. They worked their teams to death on The Witcher 3 and crunched so horribly. They learned their lesson. They're not going to have any crunch on Cyberpunk. They're taking steps as of a year ago. They brought it up again and again and again and again and again. They did an interview with Jason Schreier, with the CEO, the founder of CD Projekt Red. And Jason said, here's some quotes. If I'm a designer at CD Projekt Red and I say, he says he has kids, I have a family, I'm going to work 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, and that is it, even until the very end of the game. Am I going to be okay with that? The CEO says yes. Jason Schreier says, no matter what. The CEO says, yes. Jason says, so you can commit to that. The CEO says, we've already committed to that. We've committed to that already.
I was going to say, if he said yes one more time, I was going to think he didn't speak the language.
And then we got a announcement this week that mandatory crunch on Cyberpunk 2077 has begun.
Oh.
As that game prepares to release in November the 19th. Apparently it's going to be out.
Push it back.
Push it back. You guys said you were going to do crunch. And
Well, I mean, he's being true to his word. I mean, if the designer doesn't want to work crunch and he wants to work 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., then he can just get fired.
yeah,
So that's his options.
mandatory.
That's what he meant by,
that's right.
we've already committed
We've
to
already
that.
committed to it. We've committed to it
We've
already.
told all our employees that they are welcome to work whatever hours they please, and we are welcome to terminate them at any point.
Yep. And Jason Schreier said he also has received a bunch of emails that many employees have already been crunching for over a year.
I know,
So,
and I think one of the biggest things one of the biggest problems is the gray area around what crunch is. Gray area meaning that I think it means a very different thing to employers
Yes.
than it does to
Yeah,
employees.
probably for sure.
Where employers probably have like we're not going to crunch. You might have to do a couple 10-hour days here and there, but we're not going to crunch. And
Yeah,
then,
maybe those 10-hour days will be 6 weeks worth of 10
the
hours.
definition of crunch is mandatory, quite often unpaid overtime. Poland, they have labor laws that says,
Yes.
no, if you work overtime, you have to pay them overtime.
which good for Poland.
yes. Not CDPR. I'm sure
No.
they would not pay overtime if they didn't have to, but...
Well, we can't say that, but
and like the statement they put out about how, like, oh, well, we tried our best, we blah, blah, blah. Like, it reads so hollow,
Yeah.
where it is these $100 million. I don't know how big the bonuses are.
Right.
Not like Bobby Kotick only gets $50 million. So say $10 million bonuses
That's right.
for these guys. I'm sure they could have found a way to push that date back, and it probably would have cost the company some money. Whatever. Companies are all terrible.
Yes.
All terrible. They'll
Yep.
lie to you. They just want your money. Fuck them. Podcast at talkingreckless.com.
you know what's a good company?
Talking Reckless TM.
That's right.
LTD.
We actually really need your money.
Maddie's Incorporated. Man, we do really. I am once again asking for your financial support over on patreon.com/Talking Reckless Podcast. That's a little Bernie's little American politics joke for my
Works well with the
friends
story.
down there.
Yep. Bernie would not stand for CD Projekt Red.
Goddamn right he wouldn't. Max City wrote in. He wrote this into the Discord, which you can find by just going to our website at talkingreckless.com. It's a great question Kevin kind of talked on earlier. Max City says, I'm not sure about you guys, but as I get older, it's getting harder and harder to be blown away by a game. Either graphically, through gameplay, or memorable moments just aren't constantly blowing me away like gaming used to. Do you guys happen to find yourself? Are you guys running into the same issue? And if not, what's the last time a game literally made you stop playing it and appreciate it? What is the last time that you had to kind of like sit back and be like, whoa?
The climbing the Brachiosaurus dinosaurs in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, not what I thought you were going to say.
Me neither.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll say climbing the Bronchiosaurus from Last of Us 2.
Wait, you could climb that?
You should listen to our spoiler cast. You should listen to our spoiler cast. Yeah, climbing those dish.
Yeah.
Those dish things.
But yeah,
Those things are
getting
cool.
to the top and having that big panoramic view of the entire world.
Yeah.
What if I told you that in whatever game that is, Death Stranding, You could build a bridge and get one of those, a little holograph of those things to walk around it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I think that might have been a pre-order thing or something. Or maybe it's had to have Horizon. I don't know. But yeah, you can get the hologram of the disc. The big disc walker thing.
Damn.
I remember the first time I saw one. Boy, did I pop. That was the last time I put down a game and said, wow.
I kind of had a moment like that in Death Stranding. Not for
Yeah, me too.
the writing, but just like the scenery and
Death Stranding would hit
it in
you
motion.
when everything like slid together the right way in a really cool way.
Music hits just right.
Outer Worlds is definitely my answer for this. Outer Worlds, I had like a lot of like just put the controller down when you see like the planet go in front of the sun the right way, and how like the place you're on just goes black.
Oh yeah.
And then it like
Big,
lights back up.
looming
Yeah.
shadow.
And the music starts up because the end of the world's coming, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just fucking in it.
Yeah.
I'm fucking feeling this.
Last of Us 2, I had a lot of. The last one was the faces. It's like, my God, these people look real.
Yeah.
This is fuck. Look at this. Look at it. I can see every vein on Abby's bicep. So vascular.
What else?
I totally feel this a lot though. Like Maxie says, like I don't. It's not like I'm burnt out on video games. I just play. I play everything, so I don't really. Very few things do I really get like amped up for.
That part of it, I feel like I'm the opposite of you on. Whereas I feel I'm still very kid in a candy store every time I play a game. Which is not to say I don't eventually get to the point where I'm like, this game kind of sucks. But it's always like when I go into a game, it's usually very like, oh, this is so cool. Look at that thing. That's neat. And oh, this is great. Whoever made this did a great job. And then sometimes you'll get further along and be like,
yeah,
I've seen this before.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing for me too. Not in the same way, but it's like I really only ever play games that kind of hit me like that. Mm-hmm. So like we were talking about earlier today with Baldur's Gate 3, it's like I'm really looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3 because I've seen so many good things about it. It looks like it's going to be super great. But there's so many games that I won't even pick up because they don't register to me like those games do.
Yeah, you play what you like, or what you think you'll like. Doom Eternal is a great example of this for me, where like it's fine, great game, but just because I play everything, quite almost literally everything, it just didn't blow me away. Actually, I kind of did not like it. You just go play the original Doom. Let's just go play Doom. Did that game come out this year also?
Eternal? Yeah.
Okay.
It's on my top 10 list right now.
It might be on mine just from lack of
games that you like.
this year. Yeah, that's a very good question though. Yeah, I get excited for things after now. I rarely get excited for something before it comes out. I usually start playing something like, oh, this is really good. Holy shit, and kind of the excitement builds there. I don't have the like, oh man, I can't sleep because Halo 2's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, I probably am not quite there either the way I was when I was a kid. But there's definitely like, every time I see a news story about Mass Effect coming out, I'm like, whoo!
Yeah, well, there is every now and again. There's a little something.
Get those pops.
Oh,
every time I see that ad for that game that came out 10 years ago, I'll get very excited.
I should call in sick to work today or tomorrow. Just play Baldur's Gate all day.
Do it.
Oh, do it.
Tell
Those
them
are the best days.
You were just we had a like potential COVID exposure, so we were all on lockdown all week last week. So we're like, well, another podcast buddy said he might have been exposed. I gotta stay home for another week.
Done fucked.
Podcast at talkingreckless.com is the email address. I could drop these over on our Discord. Find by going to our website over on talkingreckless.com. You should come and join the Discord. It's a great little place. Heck of a little community we got in there. Everybody looks out for one another. What was I going to tell you? Oh, the anime podcast over on the Patreon, patreon.com/talkingrecklesspodcast. Eads' anime discussion, hitting 3 times a week. We are burning through Attack on Titan. It's good. I'm looking at camera, doesn't exist. It's good. It is one of the few shows that I have trouble, like, I only watch 2 episodes at a time, record a podcast, see on Wednesday.
You can't wait for the next 2.
Yeah, in like to the same level as like Dragon Ball Super, where I'm like, oh, and I'm only on episode 10 of like 50 or whatever this show is. It's wild.
Yes.
People should watch Attack on Titan. I think that's all I got to say. D&D, unfortunately, not on again this weekend, but I think the weekend after we might be good. We're hoping to get on a regularly scheduled soon. But that is still coming up. Rolling Reckless. You can find the 31 or 32 shows we've done over on YouTube or Spotify, Google Play, wherever. And that's all I have to say, other than thank you very much, Brandon Lynch, being here each and almost every week.
God of War was another one.
Oh yeah.
Big deep breaths on God of War.
Actually, yeah. God of War is probably my main answer for that. There was a lot, even like story and writing. Fuck, I love God of
It's
War.
a great one. That's
Yeah, that might be the one for
we
me.
should just talk about God of War.
Let's do another spoiler cast.
Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you very much. It's tough to fill these shows out. Oh, I just want to address one thing too. A lot of people asking when is Super Saiyan going to return. I don't know. There's a pandemic on, y'all. It's fucking hard to get people together in a studio. Just as soon as we can.
Me and Andy's schedules don't always sync up particularly well. So.
And just between you and I, audience, Dragon Ball Super ain't going anywhere. We'll finish it eventually. Kevin Byer, thank you very, very much for filling out this podcast. Looking great. Also, check out the video today. Kevin in his bathrobe, just looking real casual, real.
Nice.
It was good.
I'm here to relax.
Yeah, it was good. Like the mood, big mood with your bathrobe. You know, it's a little like
it puts me at ease.
Yeah,
it brings me a peace. When
it's
Kevin's
like
in his bathrobe.
Like after dinner. You know, you had like a great steak dinner. You know, candles, kind of big mood. It made whiskeys. You know,
it's my Friday, and I'm a little like up. I'm up higher than I want to be on my Friday, considering there's nothing to do for the next 2 days to burn the energy off. And then I just walk in here, and Kevin's wearing his bathrobe, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go home and watch.
Put my bathrobe on.
Yeah,
that's nice. We should. Maybe I'll see about getting bathrobes. I don't know. I always thought about
team bathrobes.
Yeah, no,
I really raise morale around.
I've always thought about like what is a dumb little like thing I could get everyone for being on the podcast for so long, and bathrobes would be fucking hilarious.
And then we could wear the bathrobes.
We would have to. You would have to. If you the bathrobes would have to. If you don't have your bathrobe, you're not allowed in.
Yeah.
You have to go bathrobe or naked.
I mean, I'd probably leave my bathrobe here.
You'd have to. You'd have to. That's a great idea. And to you at home, thanks very much for listening. Go check out that Patreon anime podcast, exclusive Donkey Kong time shirts, fellow gamers, all sorts of stuff over there.
I just had a stroke.
What?
What'd you say?
It's Donkey Kong time, fellow gamers. Patreon.com/Talk Reckless Podcast. Thank you very much. We'll see you here next week. It'll be the next episode of the Talk Reckless Podcast. We'll see you then.